So guys, since it didn't really work so well with my showing you my latest look, because part of the video actually stopped, I'm going to do this now. Unfortunately, I can't show you the unboxing that I did because all of these have been unboxed and I've already put out the sprues. So I got myself a Grimhammer set which contains 12 miniatures. I'm hoping to be able to take some of this and put it into a conversion program that I'm working on. Then I got myself 12 hunter orcs. 8. Or how many is it? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. No, 12 warriors of Erebor. So again, really interesting miniatures. And then lastly, I got myself 6 hunter orcs on fell wargs, and they also contain 2 dead orcs. So I'm just going to decapitate one of them because I've got a Grishnak who is missing his head. Well, not his head, but the head he's holding up. So I'm probably going to just take one of these dead orcs, decapitate him, because if he's dead, he might just as well be dead without a head. And then I'm going to put it into Grishnak's hand. I also got myself one of these, and I've always wanted a scalpel, and some super glue precision for actually, gluing small things together. And like I said, I've taken the 3 sprues that are not on wargs, and I've already primed them, and here we are. Because of course, again, I'm also still thinking about terrain, and I'm going to try something with plaster bandages, because there's a really good video out there, or a whole series of videos by Terrain Tutor. He's from England, and he shows how you can make really lovely mountain ranges or even smaller mountains and hills using newspaper, plaster bandage, and then some plaster of Paris, and then of course paint them. And this is what I found, what I'm going to use for terrain, not so much for basing, because the stones are really big. So if I put them next to, let's say, this hobbit, a metal post, either a Rivendell or post, Barrow White scenario, Bilbo, because he's got a sword. It could be Sting or it could be something else. If I put this on his base, it'll be like too big. But if you put it on a 40mm base next to a fell warg, it might actually not be so bad. But you can definitely use this for putting it into or onto huge terrain, or even medium-sized terrain. And you may wonder what this is. This came to me this week, actually. This is Pebble Dash, and I only learned this word this week. Like so many houses in Ireland, my outside walls have Pebble Dash. I'm just going to show you, for those of you who don't know what this is what it looks like. So basically, I don't know if you can make this out. This is the wall of the utility, the outside wall. So basically they put on plaster and then they spray cannon pebbles against the wall, and then they stick. And every so often when we have high winds, which is not so unusual because I live on a hill, these fall off the walls. And so far I've just basically always thrown them out. But it's stone, and I stopped throwing them out earlier this year, and I put them into my garden flower beds, because I wanted to do something with the flower beds, and I went to my local gardening store, and they sell these in different sizes and shapes for huge amounts of money. And I'm like, well, these fall off my house. So of course, in order for me to fill a whole flower bed, I would have to wait a very long time, but I can use this for potted plants, and I've been using it for potted plants. But of course, you can also use it for terrain. So what have I been working on? So basically, this is one guy that simply is finished. He just needs to go in the box. Here I've got my finished Theoden. He just needs his base done. The metal Haldir bowmen are finished. I just need to wash them down I actually am quite happy with this paint job. Considering that I can't paint, this is actually not so bad. He just needs to be washed down, and then of course they need to be varnished, and then lastly I'll do the base. There's 3 of them in different poses. So I can now send out Haldir with a contingent of 3 elves. And here I'm working on Gondorian guardsmen, and this has been a struggle because I've been trying to use acrylic paint. That's actually really difficult if you use a black base coat from Citadel, because the pigmentation of acrylic paint is very different, and this is light blue. I painted it twice with dark blue because I wanted to have dark blue and then be able to highlight. The dark blue actually vanishes when it dries off, and it just turns black because it cannot cope with the pigmentation of the base coat. And as you can see, even here, there is streaking. That's okay. I'm just going to give it a blue wash and I'll be done with it. But yeah, that was quite an interesting experiment, really, to learn how to work with acrylic paint and what not to do. And I can tell you one thing: if you're going to use acrylic paint, don't use Chaos Black or Black Undercoat. Just don't. It won't work, or very difficult. It's going to be very difficult. So of course they're not finished at all. I need to do the hair and everything else, but it took me like 2 hours to get even to this stage. And yeah, I'll have to redo this one because it's too streaky. This one is okay. This one's okay too. I've also been working on a ghost, which I found in my drawer. It's not from Citadel, but I'm going to give it a blue wash now. It's missing an arm, which I found in my bathroom, in one of my drawers there. I bought these years ago when we went to a place in Macroom in County Cork where they make these. And I'm going to use this one as a shade. Shades are evil creatures that appear in some of the scenarios, and he's a perfect shade. He's horrible. I'm going to try and focus. I don't know if you can make this out. He's actually got faces. I put it like so. And then zoom in. Let's see if this works. This is actually a face inside his body. And there are other faces in here. And I didn't realize this because this is a metal miniature. Then I primed it. Then I painted it green. But these details, I didn't see them. And I mean, I looked at this miniature for a very long time. I didn't see them until I actually did some dry brushing. Now, the dry brushing is very faint. Again, I tried to dry brush over Citadel paint, which doesn't work if you use acrylic because of the pigmentation. So you live and learn. So I'm really happy with this one. These yolks, they are just basically black. And of course they won't stay black, they still need painting, but they've now got a black undercoat. So I primed them, then I did a black undercoat, now I have to paint them. They're mainly orcs, and here I've got my Eowyn, who I'm quite happy with. Interestingly enough, this is supposed to be Mecrite red undercoat paint. It actually came out pink, and it's quite see-through. I don't know. It could be that the age of the paint has an impact there. But I just wanted her finished, so I did. She came out quite nicely. The back is actually, would you believe it, blood red. It's very dark. But I mean, the wash was actually quite nice, and I like how the detail came out. This one I'm quite proud of, actually. She's been varnished already, so now I can look into basing it. And I've already bought many more because I really want to get as many metal miniatures. So if you find metal miniatures in your attic from the Lord of the Rings, you kind of go, oh, I'm not going to use them, or I do use them, but I have them twice, or yes, well, I would be happy to sell them. Just PM me. I'm very happy to buy metal Lord of the Rings GW miniatures. And it doesn't have to come in like threes. It can only be a single one. I'm not fussy, but I'm not really happy with the plastic ones, because just look at this spear. It is so flimsy, it is so thin, it's gonna break in an instant. And I'm not very happy about this, because they are actually not really cheap either. Which brings me back to my box that I got. Now these were on sale. Usually they retail at £20 from GW, and I got them for 16 for 3, and the other one was £20, which is not bad at all. So I saved £12 on them, which is a huge amount of money. It means adding £4 more, I would have gotten another one of these boxes. So this is from Wayland Games. I'm still waiting for my spiders, which are not as important as the gaming map, which they also still have. They now sent me an apologetic mail saying, oh, it's going to take longer. And I'm like, yeah, well, really, guess what? I've already noticed, guys. So I'm waiting. So I have another gaming mat come in, because without a mat, really, it's a bit difficult to play. I could play on my carpet, but that would look really difficult. I think I would find it really difficult to make out the miniatures on my oriental rug. I'm just waiting for this to happen. This one that I'm getting now is a vinyl map, which is rolled out to form a 4x4 terrain, but it's winter terrain, which is fair enough, because there are plenty of things you can play in winter scenarios, and we'll just have to pretend for my first game that it's not winter, or we can pretend it's winter, because it doesn't make any difference really to the scenario. So this is what I'm working on at the moment. Like I said, a friend of mine is fostering some of my miniatures. He's already returned my first ring wraith to me, which is the most awesomest, most beautiful ring wraith to ever walk the earth. Terrifying and terrific at the same time. And actually, I will have to show it to you, because it's just awesome. So I'm just going to go into my utility. In case you're wondering what this is. This is something that I found earlier. Around Halloween, it had blown into my garden. So here we are. I've got plenty of miniatures, as you can see down here, and they're all ready and finished. Up here I've got the ones from Kingdom Death Monster, and somewhere down here is the awesomest of ring wraiths, and here we are. Now, if this isn't awesome, I don't know what is. The detail on this guy is amazing. He's already been varnished, as you can see. He has kind of like a green shine to him, which makes him even more eerie. And now I'm going to try and focus in on this, because I hope this will come out. Oh, it probably will, actually. I don't know if you can see this, but there is, yeah. I need something thin to point to this. And here's a blade of grass from my lawnmower, which should just do the trick. There's an Eye of Sauron in there. And this is a blade of grass, which I'm holding up to point to the Eye of Sauron, which gives you an indication of how small the Eye of Sauron is. Have I just said Sauron? His name's Sauron. I apologize. Sauron. So Christopher Lee is probably already rolling in his grave. So this is the Eye of Sauron, and he picked it out in gold. I mean, seriously, this is such an awesome paint job. I'm just absolutely in awe of this. So I'm just gonna, okay, let's do a little catwalk twirl of this model very slowly, like so. Here we go. He is just absolutely fantastic. I mean, seriously, I almost feel I don't want to play with him just in case something happens to him, but of course he will be played. But not in the first scenario, because I've got plenty of other ring wraiths that I can play with that are safe to play with, because if something happens to them, they're actually not so difficult to get, and they're also quite cheap. There is 6 of them, and the 7th is in the living room. So I've got 7, 8, and I've got another one of these ones looking different, 9, and I've also got 2 mounted ones. they're all in metal. So these I got off the internet, and this one I got off of Games Workshop. They still have some stuff in metal, and when I saw that they were in metal, I just bought them because metal just beats everything. So here we are, my little armies. These are all finished. Here I've got elf rangers. These I didn't paint myself, I just varnished them. So I've got plenty of elf rangers, which is also quite good. So I've got a ranger contingent of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And there are more somewhere else, because at this stage I'm actually losing track of where I put all of my minis. But that's fine. Here I've got the fellowship back here. And at the moment I'm actually replacing all of these miniatures with metal miniatures. So I bought the whole fellowship without hobbits today off of the internet. And I'm also going to get all of the 4 hobbits of the fellowship from the internet. And which also means I've got spare minis, which is not so bad, because I've got different versions of Gandalf actually, one on Shadowfax as well. I mean, these are not so bad, but you know, it's just nice to have them in metal as well. Although these ones are quite sturdy, but like I said multiple times, Legolas actually lost the top of his bow the minute he came out of his sprue, which was kind of annoying because I had bought them off of Games Workshop and they were new. I didn't buy them off of the internet or anything, or secondhand or anything. And where is he now? He's probably hiding somewhere, because I keep talking about how he lost his bow and he's very aggrieved by that because I don't let it go. So yeah, here he is. I don't know if you can see that the bow is kind of crooked. I was able to glue it back on and it actually held, but yeah, it's just not good quality. But I mean, I can also put him in here with the elf rangers as a bowman, and nobody will be any the wiser. It doesn't matter. He could be like a captain for them, you know. So this is okay because you can proxy them in, and since I'm not one of those, oh my god, but this is not canon and you have to have this model because this is post whatnot, blah blah blah, in the storyline, and he's supposed to have like a black hat, and now he's wearing a green hat, so how can you do this? It's not possible. I'm not like that. I just need miniatures that kind of make sense from the story, but if it's a version of Gandalf where he's holding a sword, which he shouldn't have at this point in time, I'm like, then we will just pretend he doesn't have a sword. It'll be reflected in the stats. So, yeah. As you can see, I'm probably a pragmatic player, which is why I would probably never be allowed to play in a tournament, because, yeah, I'm just not earnest enough probably for that. I would probably go, oh yeah, but I want to have fun too. So, that's my new little hobby. It's actually not so little anymore. I at some point will have to find a way to display those miniatures in a way that my cats can't get to it. I'm thinking getting a display cabinet. The problem is space. I have no idea where I'm going to put all this. At the moment it's residing in my utility, where also my lawnmower resides. But of course this is not a long-term solution, and also these are not all of them. And then there are some that are with kiwi, and then as you saw, many on spruce still. Yeah, I'm gonna try and have to find a way to store them. Okay, so thank you for listening. I'm sorry that it took me so long to actually update you properly on this and not using my stupid camera phone. I've got a lot of other stuff coming, more trees, and also some wargs, a book. And I'm also thinking about getting foreground terrain. They've got really beautiful ruins, and they seem to be not too difficult to put together. Okay, talk to you soon. Bye-bye.